All right, welcome back to another episode of the Pain to Power podcast. This is your host, Justin Banks, and today's episode is entitled Out of This World. Now, I'll explain what that means in a second, but I want to set the foundation here first. So, life is really like a video game sometimes. There are new levels that we want to get to, and usually the levels get harder as you try to go further. It gets difficult when playing a game, and it gets harder in life. When you have these large goals that you want to obtain, it generally can be pretty difficult to obtain them. It's probably going to take a do over or two. You may have to realize what mistakes you're making and do something different the next time around. Have you ever played that one game growing up and there was always that one level that just took forever to get through? It was always this tough obstacle that you couldn't accomplish or you couldn't complete something in time. Or sometimes there was just this boss or villain that could not be defeated. You couldn't move on to the next level and it left you frustrated and confused. I remember sometimes just throwing my controller down and just quitting. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but that behavior will provide different consequences if you do that in life. Sometimes we are in seasons or predicaments that we just can't understand. Sometimes we are facing villains that we feel cannot be defeated. It frustrates us, it confuses us, and sometimes we just want to quit. And sometimes we actually do quit. And with the video game, quitting means that we just can't go to the next level. It doesn't truly affect us with a game, but it's a lot different with life. There are levels that we have to pass, and if we don't complete them and just quit, you stay at that level and don't move on. We think we tried everything to go to the next step or reach that next blessing, like that promotion or marriage, peace, happiness, etc. And when we continue to fail, we think there's no getting past these problems, and we succumb to the tough storm and quit. But I don't believe we were born to be just quitters. I am always dreaming. I really am an ambitious person who wants to make the most out of his life and create a legacy that can be passed on through generations. With that can sometimes cause me to put way too much pressure on myself. And when I feel like things aren't going according to plan, I can get really frustrated. I get even more frustrated when I feel like I'm doing things the right way and yet things still aren't going anywhere. In my most frustrated moments, I seem to always think about my dad the year he was sick with cancer. He was so confused because of his treatment dealing with brain cancer, but there were these moments of clarity when he would truly express his pain, and I can still empathize and feel that emotion to this day. It would be early in the morning, and I could hear Pops just sit up on his bed, and he would just cry. These tears are full of anger, sadness, but also his sense of confusion and frustration. With all the health ailments that he dealt with, and now with this unfortunate battle with cancer, he would sit up and ask daily, why? A sentence I remember him hearing the most was, I didn't do anything to anybody. I didn't do anything. He was so perplexed and saddened as to why he was going through so much hell. Now, there is no way that I will be able to relate to how he was feeling physically, but I do empathize and feel his frustration sometimes and wonder why. Why is this happening? Or why do I have to go through this? When does it end? When does the blessing or the next level come? And in my worst moments of frustration, anger, and sadness, I say, I didn't do anything to anybody. I haven't done anything. Being in the dark is irritating and also discouraging. There have been moments where I felt so drained. I exert a lot of physical energy daily, so it's important that my mental health is together so I don't feel mentally and physically drained. And when those days come when I'm not tip top, I am exhausted beyond compare. My worst thoughts, feelings, and fears emerge with a vengeance, and it hits me and knocks me down for rounds and rounds. For a while, I felt beyond lost, on top of also being very busy. It kept me from sitting down and thinking clearly. I finally had the opportunity one day, and in that very short time of me just sitting down, I realized so much about myself. So let's get to the genesis of being out of this world. Well, I've always prided myself on being a hard worker. Since I was little, my work ethic has been pretty strong, and I never really liked to BS anything. Even if I didn't want to do something, when I did it at 100%. I became very cognizant very early that you never know what moment can provide opportunities that will get you to your dreams. You never know what lessons you may get out of situations you're involved in. So I always give 100% effort in hopes of getting just as much back in love, a blessing, etc. Hard work can pay off in so many different ways, and I thought that this gift was going to get me everywhere I wanted to go. No matter the situation, I would just work through it. I was always that one person that would say faith without good works is dead, and I always prided myself on the good works part. One of the biggest revelations for myself was that I didn't have as much belief in the faith part as I thought. Some people just have faith and the hope, but not the work. I was the opposite. In some ways, I still am the opposite, and I'm working on that. I grew up in the I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual household. And that can be true for many people. But sometimes this quote is used as a scapegoat to not do what it takes to build a relationship with God. Or we use this quote only in our times of trouble. I can't remember talking about God during great times of my life, only in the times of sorrow. Only when we cry did we talk about prayer. So I grew up with the mindset that God is only there for trouble. I was baptized during a time I thought I was in trouble. I said my best prayers in trouble. This shows that I only saw God as someone who I needed to pay bail when I was locked up. He was just that one phone call I would make to make the problems go away. Now I receive so much love and so many blessings, so much grace and mercy has been given to me, and I am grateful. Because of that, I also believe that I was doing what I need to do spiritually. But just like in a video game, what I was doing was only enough to get me to a certain level. I was not doing nearly enough to get to the next level. And even now, I'm still trying to do more. I've accomplished a lot through my hard work, and I've tried to follow God the best way I can. I've always prayed, but I was praying to someone I truly didn't know and understand. Now I'm in a position in my life where I've been left confused. Maybe you have felt this way too, just wondering, when does the dream come or when does the next level come? When will you answer me, God? When will you answer my prayers? On this one day when I had some time to think, I realized that in my spirit, it was going to take more to get more and not more hard work. Hard work has drained me as it is sometimes. In order to leave the things that frustrate me, in order to have the happiness, the peace, and to accomplish more dreams, I have to use more tools that are out of this world to get it accomplished. It's going to take more understanding of God. It is going to take more appreciation of God. It is going to take more belief in Him. It is going to take an understanding of who I am within. I'm at a level where it's time to go deep, going deep into knowing more about myself. The territories that lack understanding are places that can be easily attacked. Why do you think education is always argued over and so many people have so many different agendas? If I can control what you know, then I can attack in the areas that you don't. One area that I've tried to gain more understanding in is in the spirit. The spirit prays even when you physically aren't. It tells God about your overall well being before you pray, and you tell Him yourself. I believe that your spirit is the subconscious of your feelings and emotions. The definition of subconscious is the part of the mind that is not fully aware but influences one's actions and behaviors. The same goes for the spirit. It is your feelings and thoughts that you truly have about yourself when you take that mask off at night. It is how you feel about you in this present moment and in your present circumstances. Again, on this random day of me just sitting down with my thoughts just for about 30 minutes, I took an analysis of how I really feel. Yes, I try to be a nice person and I'm generous and I truly want the best for all people. But that doesn't mean that my spirit was in a good place. How is Justin really? At that moment, I realized Justin was angry. I was incensed. I was frustrated. I was disheartened. I was heartbroken. I was discouraged. My spirit was dark, and a broken spirit that does not repair itself will not get you towards your purpose. Why? Broken spirits lose faith. They expect only negativity. They procrastinate on the things that may make them better. And a broken spirit is always under attack, always getting stumped out until you just quit. And the way the spirit can be attacked can be so complex. I realized I was being attacked with the very gifts I was given. I said earlier that when things go wrong, I just work hard and work through it. It's helped me before and it'll help me again, right? But these attacks know that and use it to my disadvantage. For a while, I was just so exhausted and uninspired. I was also beyond busy. Because of some of the hits life was giving me, I was trying to just escape it by just doing something every day, always trying to work out or go out or do something. Because of that, I wasn't getting enough sleep, just not getting enough rest. This busyness kept me spiritually blind. I could not see what my spirit needed to heal. Although I do self reflect, it wasn't to the extent to see how I was feeling deeply, and it damaged me. I was also very anxious in the mornings. The mornings are when you should have a bit of a routine. It's when you can start off your day right. I would wake up feeling like I'm always in a rush. Feeling rushed can make you feel so drained and it stops you from doing the productive things. It stops you from doing your own hobbies. You never feel like you have the time to do the things that make you better as a person. That's no coincidence. To have it set in your mind that you only have time for the things that help you survive. How many people that are surviving are really enjoying their life right now? I had to prioritize the peace behaviors, the happiness behaviors, the leveling up behaviors. It was going to take more than some willpower in the physical sense to get this done. It takes consistent meditation. It takes consistent me time with myself and with God. God is not some sneaky link. Your self worth is not a sneaky link. They are a part of your forever. With consistent meditation and personal time, I'm calm enough to know I have some time for me. And if I don't, I need to make the time. I can see clearly, and I'm not drained to the point where I feel like I can't engage in my self worth activities. Always remember that the anxious person sees all the steps it takes to get to the top and they panic. The calm person takes a look at the first step, congratulates themselves for making it to that step, and lets that fuel them to believe they can make the second step. And through that patience and persistence, they'll eventually celebrate at the top, sometimes before the anxious person even makes a step. I believe that in order to have peace and in order to have happiness, I believe that the different dimensions within us have to be healthy to gain what we're after. You can't just be great physically. There are constant stories of people who are physically fit still dying from suicide or drug overdoses. It's not just about money. There are plenty of sad millionaires whose PR teams cover up who they really are and how they feel. Then there are some people who don't have nearly as much. They might be in poverty, they may be sick, yet they seem more at peace and happier than others. Why is this? I believe there are the different dimensions in our body that have to be taken care of, and some of us take care of them better than others. Financial success, or more specifically, the finding of our purpose, will be a byproduct of our trust in God and the connection of our mind, body, and spirit towards Him. Not being connected to social media and the toxicity and bad news that's always there. It's not the addiction to have money or the addiction to have control over others. It's not the connection to drugs. It's not the connection to processed foods that you think bring you comfort, but it's actually making you sluggish and sick. I believe the many creations and the many actions that we are taking as a people worldwide is behavior associated with the state of us as a people. We are in pain. We are feeling anger and sorrow. We feel insecure and damaged. Generations of trauma from before us or before we were born here have now been placed upon us, and the stress is heavy and it suffocates us. The many storms that we are involved in has caused us as a people to not care anymore about our lives. There's a reason why marijuana, alcohol, and hallucinogenics are becoming more and more popular. Now, for some, it actually may help health wise, in particular for marijuana. But if you ask people, or even ask yourself why we ingest these products to the point of dependency, I truly feel that this is in a search for happiness, a search for some calm and some peace, a search for things that we aren't getting from our loved ones or our job or from society or from within. To find hope, to find love, to find peace, we must look within. The soul and the spirit are the connections to who has created us, and their health is paramount to our state of well being. Now, think about this. When we grieve, our skin or body parts are not where we feel our pain. We generally feel it inside. When we are anxious or depressed, there may be physical symptoms, but they are because of the chemical imbalances in our brain. Our mind is what's in a fragile state. And let's be clear, I'm not just talking about the brain itself. I'm talking about that voice in your head that speaks when your mouth is closed. What does that voice usually say? How negative is it? How angry is it? How often does it tell you how bad of a person you are? Can you ever shut the voice off, or is it constantly like that roommate that won't leave you alone? Are your positive thoughts often created and forced by you into your head and try to combat the negative thoughts inside? The positive doesn't seem to flow as smoothly as the negative, and our body feels it. As an anxious person, I know this really well, unfortunately. And I know that what starts at the top will eventually trickle down into the rest of my body. It trickles down and becomes muscle tightness. It becomes fatigue. It creates this hypochondriac way of thinking where I have so many different ailments and conditions, and no doctor can figure out what's wrong. They just haven't found what's wrong yet, and when they do, it'll be the worst case scenario for my diagnosis. I could have all the money in the world, but it will not buy me mental health. More money can sometimes amplify what's already the dominant force in your life. If you're an alcoholic, you now have more money to buy as much alcohol as you like. The same goes with drugs. If you're struggling with mental health and somehow get this lump sum of money, sometimes that money goes to the alcohol, the drugs, and the pills to help, and it leads to that person's demise. The deep subconscious of our mind is something not created by man. It may be created artificially by companies, but that doesn't come close to the power of our Creator. So, what must we do to take care of the mind? I've been on this quest for years to find some of the answers myself. I started to try to get away from what's popular in our world now. I sparingly get on social media. Generally, I'm just promoting my podcast or the wonderful members at the gym in which I train. Generally, if I do post something, I want to post something that's going to uplift and encourage. I stay away from the things that will distract me or make me feel like I'm less than or things that are going to rush me and feel like I'm doing things wrong. I do the same with TV. The unfortunate problem is that this stuff is everywhere technology exists, and I've been trying my best to go places where technology isn't as prevalent. We have a little more warm weather left here in this fall season, and I'm trying to use them to walk more in nature. Nature can sometimes be so still and calm. I stay in the moment and I listen to it with my eyes and my ears. I look for the different colors in nature. I listen to the birds and hear and feel the wind as it blows by. Nature's calmness keeps me still and calm. Nature isn't usually rushed, so you don't feel rushed yourself. That is one of the reasons why being in nature is scientifically proven to reduce blood pressure and your heart rate, areas that are always on the rise when you are feeling stressed out or anxious. I write goals, I write poetry, I'm trying to read a variety of more books now. These are all things that keep me in the moment. These are all things that keep my mind focused. But these are also things that keep me productive and make me a better person. I become more knowledgeable. I work on crafts that I enjoy. Doing this consistently will relax the mind, which can also relax the body and create a vibe that the people around you can feel. I'm not perfect at this by any means, but I'm trying my hardest to make this a lifestyle. I encourage you to do the same and find things that keeps your mind at ease and at peace. And don't neglect that exercise as well. The benefits can be talked about forever, but it can truly reduce your stress. But it can also keep your body healthy so you don't have to be paranoid and worry that something is going wrong within your body. There's also that flip side, though, for the gym rats who never want a day off. There's that belief that if you miss a day, you'll probably just lose all your progress. It's also good for your mental and physical health to take a day and relax, or also find again the different activities or hobbies that you may enjoy. If you don't have anything else that you enjoy, then it's time to start exploring. It can really be a great experience. Now, I have brought up therapy in so many of my episodes, and I probably won't stop. I've started to learn that the things we make excuses about the most are probably the things that we need to do the most. It probably would give us the most benefit, but we run from it. Some of us are afraid to actually go deep and fix our problems. Some of us expect the therapist to do all the work for us and we become healed through some miracle. You have to talk and express yourself in order for the therapist to help. Now again, some are better than others, but when you already don't want to do something, you'll find a way to make someone worse than what they are, just like if you're dating someone you just weren't interested in. You'll find a way to give them negative traits or negative characteristics just to keep yourself away from them. Take the step. Be open minded and try. Let's stop running away from the help that we have been praying for and searching for. This very well may be the prayer that may be being answered. So I really encourage you to give it a try. There would have been no Pain the Power podcast without it. It would be the same Justin with no confidence, and it was filled with insecurity. I would be stagnant with the same mindset and with the same fears I had in the years prior. I didn't want to be 27 still battling issues that should have been handled at 23. I also don't want to be battling issues at 30, knowing that I could have been working on myself and helping myself at 27. I want to get to the next level of peace, and my mental health cannot and will not be neglected. Now, let's finish this up. How is your soul? When we say we're heartbroken, our soul is hurting. There's so much violence in this world today. There's so much abuse and bullying in our world today. The hate is high, and we are a powder keg ready to explode. We are so quick to disrespect each other, and we support other people, especially like celebrities and influencers who are just as mean as you. Just because you agree with them doesn't mean their point of view is correct. You connect with their bitterness and their hurt. We are connecting to the evil around us. We are connecting to the broken souls. We are connecting to those that are heartbroken, and it's causing us to harm and damage each other at catastrophic levels. School shootings have yet to stop. The violence in my neighborhood has yet to stop, and it's getting more and more senseless. And we can't wait on somebody who is not from our neighborhood to just be elected and just fix it. Having the right officials in place always helps, but it's going to take more than that. There are quite a few reasons why the killing is so senseless, but I want to focus on one in particular. I've grown up in neighborhoods where I've constantly heard the young man I've grown up with say, I just don't care about my life. I don't give a F about it. I ain't afraid of nothing. I don't care if I die. This fearlessness combined with ignorance. When someone doesn't care about their life, it affects them and the people around them. It creates this recklessness. They rob and kill others because they don't see any value in the people they commit the crime against. This is also because they don't see the value in themselves. They believe that another person would do it to them, and they inflict their pain on others, creating this kill or be killed world. Jay-Z has a song called Can I Live? And in one of his lines, he says, They built me to be filthy on some I do or die shit. This mentality is flooding our inner cities just as much as the drugs and violence. But this is a man made mindset being taught to us for survival as well as control. But if we're being honest, as a black man in particular, we really aren't surviving, are we? If we don't die in our 50s because of our poor diet, we're dying in the streets due to violence, or our bodies are being locked up for years, taking away so much of our life. In short, the streets are hurting. The streets are in pain. The streets have been told for decades that we are not cared about. This is proven through legislation that has created injustice and racial disparities, which then creates hurt in some of our homes. Parents not being there or being thrown into a broken foster care system, being put through a pipeline that inflicts hurt and leads to prison or death in the end. Have you ever seen a dog that has been chained up since they were born and not given the life they were supposed to live? A life filled with freedom and happiness. How do those dogs generally behave? Lifeless. They sit and lay awaiting the day when their life is gone. How do you think a child is going to behave in poverty? And how do you think they're going to behave with no direction or help from the community or government around them? Chained up while feeling lifeless and careless and reckless. You will see an individual who is mentally drained. This person doesn't believe there is a God there to help them. This person believes their soul and spirit is broken. They are not healed. They become pawns of this world, being told that their life is worthless, and only through the pursuit of toxic creations by man that will only bring them contentment. This creates the fight for money. This creates the ability to enslave and control others. I want to use this time to encourage you. I'm beginning to understand who God is to me, but I want you to find out what he means to you. I want to give you a couple Bible verses that may give you a glimpse into our Creator. One of my favorites and a very popular one is Jeremiah 29:11. It's a great verse to look at to ease your worries when you're feeling lost. It says, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Anxiety can give us so many fears, but we have to trust that there is a plan for our well being to ease our nerves. Don't think or believe that our lives are meant to be in just anguish. If you're going through a tough time, you cannot assume that this is God providing harm for you. That's not what He's there to do. Pain is sometimes inflicted by others based on their own internal affliction, and sometimes our pain is also self inflicted. This pain is oftentimes allowed by God to see where you are going to go for help. Are you going to seek the Lord for guidance so you can be put on the path set for you? Or are you only going to do what makes you comfortable but actually just adds to the pain that you are already feeling? Seek the plan and pray that you are guided to stay on it. You'll be surprised at the good that can come from this. John 16:33 says, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. I've had to realize that the problems don't go away just because you're trying to do good. Trouble can and will still come our way for a variety of reasons. But we mustn't fret and think that trouble is our only reality. But we are also being led by someone who can give us peace to get out of that trouble. Think about some of the storms you have been through. Oftentimes, we think about all the storms we've been through, and that just exhausts us. What if we switched our mindset a bit and noticed that we may have had storms, but the storms ended and we overcame them? This should motivate us to know we can continue to make it through what comes our way, and through the trouble, we can have peace. We have to believe that we can have joy, not think we may have it, but 100% belief. It would change the very way you operate. Watch how your pessimism slowly turns to optimism. And I'll finish with this. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. For God gave us the spirit not of fear, but of love and self-control. Personally, this verse can be an episode in itself. Read this verse in your own time. Reflect on this verse in your own time and accept this verse in your own time. This is who I am. This is who you are, and that's all there is to it. So when you have fear about something, reject it. When you have fear about something, rebuke it. Fear is being used to stop your momentum. It's being used to take you off track of the plans created for you in Jeremiah 29:11. Together, let's all find our course and stay on it. The course has to include our mental, physical, and spiritual health. Someone healthy in all these areas is unstoppable, immovable, and unshakable. That person is me, and that person is you. It took a while to put this episode together, and it just continues to prove to me that the journey takes time. I'm going to continue to enjoy the steps taken on this journey, and it will make me reaching the destination so much sweeter. We got this. Let's keep pushing, and in all areas, be powerful.